Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Scrim. I am super stoked to talk with our guest today. He was actually introduced to me from Gus here at Waterloo Records, who runs the studio. And when I started this show, Gus immediately said I should reach out to this guest here today because he's just got incredible stories. His everything he's done has just been at epic scales. So without further ado, our guest today, the Senior Vice President of Music and Entertainment out at COTA, Mr. Glynn Wedgewood. Howdy.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's nice to be here on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Like doing things that I function better these days at my age, I think in the mornings through to early evenings. So it's much appreciated doing this at the best time of the day.
Well, that's what's up. Yeah. Are you, I noticed you had a question on what day it is. Are you kind of in a little bit of a lull right now? Like, are things getting crazy, or do you have a bit of a breath right now?
We're very much in planning mode, booking mode, working on contracts, bits and pieces. I mean, currently, we just got the paperwork for our Saturday night artist for Formula One this year. Should be getting the Friday night paperwork very soon. So a lot of different things. We're working on a festival with a promoter. We're locking in the rest of the bookings for the amphitheater. Some other little fests and bits and pieces around probably. So lots of plates spinning right now.
Right on. Yeah. It's been really awesome to see COTA grow, throughout the years, and just the iteration, it gets bigger and bigger. And, there's a ton y'all are doing out there.
Yeah. I don't know how much you know of. You might see in the billboards the amusement park that's coming.
Yep. You got you've got, was it COTA Land?
Yep.
Yeah.
So COTA Land is on its way, which is pretty wild. Where we work in the pit building, we have like this view. So you look one side, you see all this construction, and these rides going up the other side exactly the same. So yeah, we've been in that mode for a year and a half, 2 years now. So it's exciting to see all of these structures and all of these roller coasters start popping up.
Heck yeah.
In addition to everything else we've already taken on.
Right. Yeah. Just another little thing. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I kind of want to, talk a little bit about your history before we get into this it moment. And I think your journey is just, it's been a really, it's obviously happened over years, but it's been a very diverse journey to get where you are now. And so kind of looking back, it seems like really, kind of the production side of your career started in around 2010. You were the talent buyer at Frank Hot Dogs, rest in peace, Frank. That was an OG spot in Austin. I know it was 2010, but
I loved it.
That was awesome. There were some great shows there. Daniel Northcutt, the owner there, it was just a super cool
Very
dude.
fortunate to still be working with Daniel at Formula One over these years.
Yeah.
So he's, still stay connected. He actually moved when our kid moved to UMass, Amherst. He lives maybe an hour away in Northampton. So he's very, very kindly took all of the Amazon shipments that were for him, housed them, and then met us in his truck, and cross-loaded. So still very much connected to the old Frank days. That's
awesome, man. So starting as a talent buyer there, you taught and did production at Band-Aid School of Music. Mm-hmm. You have been, a PM in artist relations for Giant Noise, which is a local PR firm. And, they're also going through a big growth spurt and doing a ton of stuff. You were the also PM and talent buyer at White Siren Presents, which was a kind of agency, I think, with you and your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Started.
Yeah. I think that really was a lot of, again, going back to Frank and also Swan Dive, booking those shows over that 2.5 year period and beyond. Yeah.
And that kind of came out of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of, took a jump and you became a PM and producer at ACL Live in the Belmont, which I'm sure, during that time period, a ton of incredible shows went through there.
Yeah, we got to, so I mean, working directly with ACL Live, sure, Skippy, Jack McFadden over there, and they started plugging shows in the Belmont, so that was just a literal like 2-block skip from Frank to get over there, so we had a lot of cool stuff there, a lot of good memories. It's a good space.
That was a good little circuit right there. And then it sounded like, in 2014, that's when you get the call from COTA, and you helped produce their fan fest that was taking place downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously, you went from producing fan fest to now who you are, senior vice president of music and entertainment. That's a journey right there. So now taking a step back, what drew you in to this profession, this world?
Not really sure, but I think like a lot of kids who like music are into it. I mean, way back in the day when I was still living in the northeast of England, like I played drums with the school band. We'd make music, do shows, do whatever. So that was fun. Like I liked making music with a bunch of people. So always enjoyed that. Moving around the country, more and more, just got into it, loved playing, loved writing songs. So that kind of stuck. So from a purely, if you want to call it artistic angle, like that was that. When I was living in Nottingham for a while, what happened was I'd do some open mic nights. So I'd promote them, produce them, run audio desks, all of it, like just do the complete things, because I just like being around it. It was really exciting. I still to this day, it's like you can go and see a band in a stadium and it might be amazing, but as far as that kind of raw energy, that just genuine moment, like you can't beat that, like for somebody who's just starting, just pouring out their soul. So I love that, being part of those open mic nights, those new bands. And it was like, I think still to this day, it's like as much as like I do some pretty big things and that's cool, but like I still love being in a club and watching a band, because I think it's just that distance of you're watching somebody on stage, and if you're 15, 20 feet away from someone, that connection, if they're delivering, that artist, is way different from being 400 feet away in a stadium. It's just, you can't get around that. But anyway, it's doing that, some open mic nights. I did some talent buying in Nottingham for a place called, at the time it was called The Social. It's called the Bodega.
Bodega, yeah.
Now. Doing an unsigned night there. And at the time I was playing music with a band called Nick Armstrong and the Thieves over there. So I was playing guitar, touring with those whilst also booking this unsigned night. And I remember on one occasion we were on our way to Liverpool to play a night called Bandwagon, which was a night by the Stands. It was a very kind of hip, popular, kind of retro-y kind of night. And we were on the way there, and there's a group in Nottingham who do amazing shows in other markets as well called Daybrook House. So one of their lead buyers was, or still is, like Anton Lockwood. And I remember getting a phone call from him going like, "Hey, Glynn, you've booked one of the biggest unsigned bands in the country." I was like, "No." Who's that? Like, I just like would take demos, listen, and go like, it's like Arctic Monkeys. I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, they sound all right."
You booked the Arctic Monkeys before?
Yeah, on the back of an unsolicited demo.
Holy shit!
So I was like, "Yeah, I mean, they sounded good. They're from Sheffield." Like, thought, "Yeah, give them a chance. Come on down." It's like, "Yeah, but you've booked him for nothing. Like, it's like you're not paying. We've got to kind of take care of them." I was like, "Dude, I've got no ego. Like, just take it, run with it, do with it." And so they've developed an amazing relationship over the years. But
that is wow, man. So that's one of my favorite albums. Their first album is like one of my favorite albums. It's so good.
They're a great band, and that like back in the day, like whatever home burnt CD and photocopied like thing is kicking about somewhere back in England, I'm sure. But
dude, that's awesome. Holy shit.
So that's like as far as kind of the talent buy-in, booking, whatever you want to call it. Like that, I guess that's how that really came about.
It's a bit interesting too, because I feel like a lot of people I've talked to who are in production, almost everybody started out in music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point it just kind of clicked. And so was that kind of your click moment of like, okay, I was a musician, but now this is sort of a new path for me?
Maybe later. You said something really interesting there, which had never really occurred to me as to why. Why do musicians, sometimes make that switch? And I'd never looked at it from that angle as just thinking about it. Now it's like, okay, why do I want to be more involved? Why do I want to help produce this? And I think that's the passion and the real care that they want that artist to sound and look and be the best possible, which is so nurturing and helping doing that. So I think, to fast forward to that, that's probably where that came from. But no, so at the time, like I was still playing music,
Mm-hmm.
Doing that. We bounced around, did some European stuff, touring. We did some shows over here, so we're backwards and forwards across the Atlantic in 2005. Weirdly enough, probably not weirdly enough, it's probably really common. The first gigs we played were at South by Southwest in Austin.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
So we didn't know what it was. It was just like, it sounds
you said that was
cool.
like 2005, 2006?
2005, yeah. So
that was like prime time too.
Yeah, we came over, did some shows. I remember meeting somebody at Waterloo, like the old location.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we came over, did some shows, went backwards and forwards across the Atlantic, did more shows, did some really cool tours with that band. Like we did a run with Oasis in North America, which is pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
Did a couple of runs with the Pretenders. So played some good music, did an album, band name change and all that. And that was a lot of music. And as far as kind of that project, in 2005, I met my now wife, so relocated here and have been here ever since. Yeah.
So like during that time when you were touring, traveling back and forth, is that also when you started noticing, were you kind of taking more into account, what was happening in terms of production, in terms of logistics? Like, were you always interested in that component of it?
Yeah, I think that's probably comes down to more of I like solving problems. So when we were touring, when I'd see things or when I'd look at situations where it's like, well, that's going to be an issue later down, or we can do this, or it's like, how do you work around that? How do you fix that problem? So I remember like something I hadn't thought about till just then. We were doing a show in Chicago. I want to say it's called Schuber's The Room.
Okay.
And this like shotgun room, well, no big deal, but we're playing the show then for whatever reason. Like at the time, all four of the band really sang, but they had like limited monitors. So it was like, and a couple of the guys like really needed them and wanted them, and it's like they were out, and there was like, well, I need like two, and it's like, it's fine. Take them. I can do it blind. Just listen to the reflections of this kind of. It's like, you take that. I'll figure this out. You go.
Hey.
So yeah, just little things like that. But which you shouldn't have to. But it's like, so when you walk into years down the road, it's like, okay, what does this band need? How important is that? Right? Is this actually like true, or did somebody just put a wish list of what they want on there? And right. It's that deciphering. So it's still to this day. It's at the highest level, we see things where it's like, and it's a very, very small percentage once you get to that level for sure. But there's often that area. It's like, no, we can make that work. We can cut that. So
yeah, I've noticed that, right? You just kind of have to have a conversation.
Yeah,
and then
that's exactly it. It's a conversation, and that's what people seem to be scared to do these days. Just talk.
Yeah. And things are fair. Well, I've always said, I think production folk are, some of the smartest and brightest because they want to solve problems. And I'm like, man, if, you kick out the government, you put production people in here, we might see some things happen, but like, it's just problem solving. Like that's just the name of the game.
That's what it is. Nothing's really complex. And if you start chipping away at something, you eventually have the majority of the answers. So it's, when you truly come across a head scratcher, it's rare.
So, before we dive into more of what we're going to talk about during that time, before you sort of really, land in Austin, or maybe when you're in Austin during that 2010, before you get to COTA, was there anybody kind of a mentor or anybody who you were kind of looking at and kind of seeing how they were doing it? Or was this just sort of, you're just going to do it and see where it goes?
I don't think so. For me, it's just, and I am very much encouraged this with the team, the folks I work with. It's like, just be, forge your own path. Just look around, absorb everything that's going on. Don't look to compare, be told, like just absorb everything. So, I mean, that's a lot of what I did was that. I still do to this day. But being in Austin was doing that. And then on like a local level, I was playing music, like right up and down. I still remember till 2013, like I played in a band called Stereo's a Lie. So that was like a cool project, Austin-based project, which was great. We had a record label with our friends at the time as well. We did that. And then in 2013, I've been doing this for a while, like playing music, doing it. And there was a point where we played the last show in 2013. It was a sold out room. It was at the Parish. And, I remember being on stage just thinking, this is starting to feel like work, and that's not good. And so I just stopped playing, stopped writing, stopped playing music. And, I still play guitar and pick up it up now and again and sing, but it's actually for the pleasure, for the joy, not because I should be, or
I have to.
Yeah. That became a drag. So at that point, it was like, all right, that was 2013, really just refocus on music production and put energy into there and helping other people and helping make events a little bit more successful.
Heck yeah. Well, then I think that kind of leads us into, what we're going to really dive in today. And, we're talking about sort of, it sounds like you've had a lot of it moments over your career, and I'm sure there's many more to come, but today, we are going to talk about the Eminem concert out at Formula One, which took place on October 19th in 2024. So to kind of paint the picture for our listeners here. So this is out at COTA, right? It's during F1 weekend. We have 400,000 people coming to Austin to attend this show. In particular with Eminem, he hadn't played a show in terms of headlining a show since 2019, pre-COVID. And this particular concert is considered the biggest attended concert, out there, according to the internet. But so to kind of give people, to paint the picture of the scale of this, let's talk about the concept of it. How does something like this even come together? Like what are you doing leading up to it? Who makes a phone call? It's Eminem, hasn't played a show since 2019. How does this start coming together?
So that show in particular, I said, started coming together the previous year. So
okay.
That's when the conversation started. But in answer to your question, like how does it come about? It's very, very similar format and process every year. So basically our chairman, who is Bobby Epstein, I sit with him. We look at what's going on, who might be a good fit, who's available, what makes sense. And then, we sit, talk through, whittle down to a short list of what might work, what might be a good idea. And that's it. That's kind of, once we've got those notes, it's like, start placing phone calls. So like for this one, it was, I want to say it's a little bit foggy, but I want to say I maybe reached out to Sasha, who's works with Scoremore, local promoter, for an intro to Cara Lewis. Cara Lewis is M's longtime agent. So that's where that started. It was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I think it was probably, the reality was, and not just for us, just in general, to have him go out and work in 23? It was probably like a 50-50 at that point, which is like, because he's an artist and he's a little known to us, he's working on an album at that time. So I think it was 50-50. It didn't work out, which is like
initially it was like,
yeah, that's just, it was like, I think they were looking at maybe doing a handful of other shows, festivals, for it to make sense to kind of, get the machine going again. Cause it's pretty tricky to start the engine back up once it's been dormant for a few years. But anyway, it didn't happen. So it's like, that's cool. Like, totally get it. We did an amazing show anyway. But then like the next year it was like, hey, what do you think? And it just got more and more positive. So the conversations were great with Cara Lewis. She obviously was talking directly with Paul Rosenberg, who's M's long time manager. And so they were great. Like the offer went in, the conversations continued, and then I was coming back one morning from work, and I'd just taken the slip road off 130 to head back home, and like I see like the phone go, and it's like Cara Lewis. She was like, "Congratulations, got a show." It's like, great.
Yeah, damn. So, well, it's interesting you say that too, because I want to point that out of, the key, it seems, is persistence, right? Like you asked one year and they say no, and it's not giving up, right? It's saying, okay, maybe it's not the right time. Let's maybe circle back or come around to it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's just also just a good thing to point out, for anybody who's in this realm of booking or production or even artists, it's just like, if there's a no, that doesn't mean it's never not going to happen,
100%. It's like, or certainly in the world of production, I often say, if it's a no, then it's our job to figure out how to make it a yes. Like, or is it, if it's truly a no, okay, they're rare.
Right.
There's usually a way.
Well, so then, okay, so, now we're going to kind of talk about sort of the creation of the show. So you get the text saying, congrats, you got a show, let's go. What's that next day? Where does your head go? Because again, to paint the picture, obviously this is a massive single day show, but there's a lot happening at COTA during that weekend, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a show. It's a Formula One $1 million cars flying around the track. You've got, between turns 11 and 12, you've now got to put this stage together. You've got to go from a hot track to a concert venue in 90 minutes. So what starts happening when they say go in terms of like, where do you start planning and logistics and all that?
Fortunately, a lot of the infrastructure, we've figured that out over the years. So as far as how it's done, what we're going to build back there and all of that, a good percentage. Basically, I don't know, 90% is going to look very similar. The other percentages are really tied down the stage. Like, what is the production going to look like? What are the elements that both of these artists are going to share? We know that we're going to have left and right iMac video screens. We know we're going to have an upstage wall. So is that compatible with both? And then it's merging those riders. But really, once we get that go, it's very much starting to tap in the other people who are working directly with them. Like we have a very small team at COTA. Certainly the music and entertainment team, it's 3, arguably 4 people. That's about it. Wow. So when it comes to an operation like this, we absolutely rely on contractors and other part-timers to come in, and fortunately they come back annually. So like artist relations, tapping Jem Reber in this case to go like, okay, let's talk about those finer points. Or, you go with M's people, here's the introduction there. And then like Mike Hanley to do that, talk to the production dude. Like, how's this going to work? What do they need? So they'll deal with those two elements of with the tour, with the artist directly, which are pretty key. So at that point, once that contract's signed, once it's confirmed, I can let people know, because it's a very guarded thing, booking. Like, I think there's maybe like 3 people who know who we're probably going to book for this year at this point. And it's just one of those things where it's a need to know basis, and at what point you need to know. So once that contract is inked, okay, you're in. You start rolling on this. So like on a local level, like with Cara, Jenna, and Jack, like, okay, it's go time. This is who we're receiving. But yeah, so that's kind of how those things start rolling from the super far out distance, and then obviously the closer we get, the more that ramps up. So what, in terms of, let's talk a little bit about on the sort of production side, right? So you mentioned you're talking with the artist, both artists. Oh yeah. And by the way, Stink is playing the next night, so it's not just a one-off, thing. So who, how long is that conversation in terms of, right now focusing on Eminem, his production team, they're obviously probably creating a whole set design, a whole look. You're having to now coordinate with your partners and vendors to execute on that, or whether they're shipping in. So like, how long is that conversation, until you really are like feeling confident it's locked in? It's ongoing. I'd say like, there's still minor tweaks going on during the week, and we're talking like 0.05 tweaks. Right. Like tiny things, but like that conversation for the most part, maybe it feels like it's a month out, like everything's locked, everybody's happy, everybody's got the game plan, everybody knows what's going on. I mean, to your point, it's like we got Sting like on for this one, so Sting played the Friday, so more often than not, like, and I, well, for these Friday set to shows, what we do, just to give you an idea, so we'll do track activities on a Friday, right? When the track goes cold, that's our cue to flip the track to a venue. So let's say the track goes cold at 6, like within minutes, you'll see a team of lulls, forks come and rip 150 feet of catch fence out, converting that to a floor, standing room floor. And, at the same time, other elements are changing, like we're pre-staging folks, getting ready to open up the floor, the lawn when that's ready. Like we can do this anywhere between 50 minutes an hour. We're ready to start filling the floor with people. But yeah, we do that. So in this case, like Sting plays his show on the Friday night. Friday night ends, then we're cross-loading. So we're taking Sting's gear out. Once that's down, we're then loading M's gear in. So it's
is that like a 24-hour cycle? It feels like almost, you know, like just that, and then kind of leading, I guess, to that. You've got some infrastructure in place, but then what is that actual build schedule? Is that kind of a 2-week, a 3-week?
It's exactly that. It's about call it 2 weeks. I mean, maybe 3 weeks as we start dropping some of the portable buildings and whatnot and fencing. And this is just to be very clear, this is very much just back around the stage and back of house super stage we're talking here, because like when we're talking Formula One itself and that build, like those structures start to go up in June, and like the event is not so it's a long process. But as far as kind of that immediate area, it's call it 3 weeks, 2 weeks before the show that we start to see the stage coming in and building out. And tying things up there.
So then, in terms of, then you kind of have, so you're building everything and then you're kind of the testing. So, I mean, what's that sound check schedule look like for these caliber of artists? Also, you're dealing with, like you said, there's an actual race happening. So you can't, sound, and you're on the track. What's that schedule look like?
It varies every year. You got some people, like we did Garth Brooks last year on a Saturday. So like Garth just rolled in with his band on the Saturday. He was playing on the Saturday night, and I want to say his band did their just line check, make sure everything was cool. Garth joined them at some point in the afternoon, and then he was probably playing whatever that is 2-3 hours later. For this particular one, it was something different. As you point out, it's like M hadn't done anything since 2019. He just dropped that album in the summer. So they created an amazing look and set for this show. But he hadn't worked on it. I'm assuming he hadn't played or done anything really, been in a room to practice. So whereas somebody like Garth in that scenario, boom, walk in 3 hours before a show, yeah, just line check, whatever, done, whatever. A little bit different. So even though Sting was playing on the Friday night, and I want to say jetted in from a different show the day before. But anyway, even though Sting played on a Friday night, and it was very much, I think we talked offline about this a little bit. He was there for the check. He did a very similar thing to Garth, where it's like, come in the afternoon, check, we flip the track, he does the show. Well, like rewind to the Thursday night, like M needed and wanted like a full rehearsal. Gotcha. So it's, you're like... So set a stage to do a full rehearsal, to take it down, to get ready for Sting, to put the set back up. So it varies. But like in that scenario, it was a Thursday night. For those who don't know, people who are on the F1 tour, they're really into running tracks. So it's a thing where they kind of just literally run a 3.4 mile track. So that's fine. But it's like that, they do that like pretty much every night. So on the Thursday, you got all these, I say all these, it's like whatever, like over the course of the thing, maybe it was about 30, 40 people at different intervals.
Running, jogging.
Running around the track, just like, that's the thing.
Getting their laps in.
Like, good for them. But
you weren't joining them? You weren't, cigarette, beer in hand, running?
No, I think my knee would probably give out within a few feet. But they're doing that. So at the same time, well, M's on stage. So how do you do that when this is daylight? So yeah, we had to get a bunch of security down there just to make sure that's all you're doing. You're running. You're not stopping and going like, yeah, I want a selfie with it. Right. And so like we even did something like really wacky, like basically a front of house mix. We commandeered the runner vans, which are like 15 passenger sprinter vans essentially, and got like either side of front of the house. We had them drive on the racetrack and create kind of just a barricade of 4 trucks either side of the thing, just to really limit, like, why would you want to stand way over there? It's just like, keep moving. So yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, it's never the same.
And then, that's awesome. So is that, you kind of, I wouldn't call it negotiating, but it's like, you have your, kind of lines in the sand for the track, right? Like, we have to, meet these, these standards, whatever, for the race itself, and then we have to work around that. So is that a difficult or challenging conversation during, while you're creating the event with artist management or their team in terms of like, hey, this is kind of where we can and can't do things?
I think it's just as long as we're, and we always are, very upfront and explain the situation properly to them, so there are no surprises. If we're like fully transparent, and we always are, it's never usually an issue. Somebody we've looked at several times. Like I know they are really insistent on like a full rehearsal. So it's, in my mind, there'd be a Saturday night act. So if they're insistent on a full rehearsal, then they'd have to do something very similar to what Eminem did and coming on a Thursday, because we can't do that. Like if we can't close off the entire venue. So it's like, fortunately, there's so much distance between the stage and the closest seated area, which is the Turn 9 grandstand at the back, and it's not put up on IMAG. Like the folks up there didn't even know Garth Brooks was on stage sound checking because you can't. It's so far away at that point.
Yeah, it's like a mile and a half or whatever that is.
Yeah,
like,
so it's just a smoke and mirrors. It's like, well, that sounds like it is.
That sounds like some country. Yeah. So for this particular show, also, I guess kind of talking real quick back on sort of the negotiating part of it, specifically for this Eminem show, was that sort of part of within the contract or negotiation in terms of like knowing that, okay, they're like, because to me, I start thinking, okay, well, what are the costs associated with like coming in those extra days, building, tearing down, resetting, obviously there's a lot of moving parts and elements to it. So it's like, is that something that is sort of worked through, at that contract point? Is that kind of something that's after the fact? We sort of know that there's going to be some, ups and downs or whatever.
Yeah. It's fluid. It's like, because the reality is there's so many pieces and layers working through artist management agencies and everything else in between. At the time of going like, yeah, we'll do this gig, then like I'll put money on it. They didn't know what gear they needed. They didn't know what it was going to look like, and that's fine. It's like, we're going to do this gig. You're going to get your production designers to come in. We want this, that, the other. And it's fluid. It changes. So I think it's just that ability to pivot and, okay, how's this show look? Like, people love to have this really defined schedule. It's going to look like this, and we're going to do this at this time. And for the most part, you can get pretty close to there. You can map it out. You can have a framework. But for this in particular, it's like, I can't tell you. It's like we might do a rehearsal on this night. We might not. Some people might be insistent. Like, we did the Killers one year, and they were playing on a Friday night, and they didn't do a rehearsal, but they did a warm-up show down at Emo's, I believe. So instead of that, so it's like they hadn't played for a while. So at that time, it was talking with
was that Continental Club? Or was that, they might have been Emo's, yeah.
That one was Emo's, because we did that, and it was very much like the agent. I think it was Kirk Sumner I was talking with was they won't have played in a while. Like, they want to do like a warm up show, like a true warm up show, and it's like, it's great. Like, it's fine. It's like, do it. It's going to be a better show. It's like, for me, it's like, great. I know Emo's is 2,000 capacity or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, I know it's not going to be like a Killers Arena show. You're not going to sell them tickets because physically you cannot do that. So if worst case scenario, the band are going to sound like on form because they've warmed up, and we're going to sell some more tickets because people are going to like, man, I want to go see the Killers. Right. It's like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cup is half full, glass is half full there. I like that. So then kind of, back to sort of the creation of it. Was there anything in this Eminem show that was unique in terms of like something y'all had done that you hadn't done in previous shows?
Yeah. So for this one, like, stage aside, like his team, whatever, they knocked it out of the park. They made a great set. For us, we knew even before we went on sale, or we felt, and thankfully it was vindicated, that it was going to be a popular show. So the boss, Bobby, was like, I really want like everyone to feel this, not just the people up front who are down there in the floor. So it's like, our floor holds around 9,000 people. Our field is right around 70,000, call it something like that. It's like, but I really want everyone to feel it. So what we did for the audio, which is something we hadn't done before, we typically, very similar to any other festival, we've got like your main PA, and then in the field, you've got a line of 4 delay speakers with a line array audio pushing out to everyone. What we did for this one is not only did we add additional delay towers to these central positions behind those two, and another one off the house left, because we could see how busy it was going to be. We did something we haven't done since, which was add sub speakers. So like all of this low end, all of this bass. So literally everyone from the stage all the way to the back of the lawn, you weren't missing anything. You could feel it.
That's badass.
So that was pretty cool.
Is that, and so like that kind of conversation, is that happening sort of well in advance, or is that just kind of like, oh, by the way, let's try this?
That one from memory, I don't know.
And it sounds like that was more of like an internal, like y'all.
It was,
like, wasn't necessarily an artist ask or anything. It was y'all like, how do we create this experience?
100%. That was absolutely on COTA's decision to kind of go, we really want everybody to get the maximum effect out of this. And that was, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months out for a show. So it was something that was thought about. It was really just something as simple as a remark as like, I really want everyone to do it. So it's like, okay, give me 2 secs. So go back, can we do this? And it's like, yeah, okay, let's do that. So,
hell yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely planned.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, it sounds like y'all definitely, I mean, like you said, you got a tight team out there. So it sounds like that allows you to probably execute quickly too. When somebody has an idea, you can suss it out quickly. It doesn't have to go up and down a lot of channels or levels.
I think so.
Is that a big advantage, you think, in terms of like the structure of the team?
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows what they're doing. So it's a case of, again, goes back to figuring out problems. And once you figure them out, you've got that in your arsenal then. It's not like a surprise. It's not like you've probably encountered it or you've overcome it in the past. So on those rare occasions, it's like, it's good though. It keeps everyone on the toes. Like just something new and fresh. Like I live for that.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Kind of rinse and repeat. Yeah, it can get a little boring. You want to liven it up a bit. So then I kind of feel like that sort of takes us into the challenges, right? Every show has its challenges. In particular, COTA, I mean, it's massive, right? It's a 1,500 acre facility. So just getting from point A to point Z is a challenge, right? You are, the super stage itself is 1.5 miles from the main paddocks. The stage itself is, 100 by 100 or 100 by 120, it's massive. You're ultimately building, infrastructure for people that is bigger than the city of Round Rock.
I heard that one before. That's good.
Yeah. And so, and then you got to, flip everything in 90 minutes. So, not your 1,000 person club. Are there any, like in this particular show, were there any oh shit moments for you? And kind of what is your process of working through those oh shit moments? Like, do you internalize? Are you kind of I'm going to internalize it, solve it, or do you kind of notify, or kind of what's your process? And were there any oh shits?
For this one, I don't think so. I mean, we're very fortunate to have hammered out, gone through, and hopefully foresee any potential issues, just in general. So,
I mean, it seems like it's a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. Like you said, you've kind of done it now, so you sort of know the infrastructure. Like, is a lot of that site? I mean, just in my mind, again, it's such a massive footprint out there. Like, is there a lot of pre-laid infrastructure that you're tying off of from facilities, or is it all kind of just like, dropped out there for that moment and then pulled out?
It's, for the most part, yeah, it all comes in for that one event, that one weekend throughout the year. Maybe an interesting story, but the one thing that is out there permanent, which didn't used to be. So the grade of the RV park is kind of like, from an audience perspective, like for you, is kind of like this. And so it's not perfectly flat. So for years, from 2015, since we started doing this with the same staging vendor, Premier Global, it's whatever. It's like you're building on a slant. Okay, your legs for your stage are going to be this high one end, they're going to be this high the other. You're going to create a thing. What happened in 2021? So we were supposed to do, I was supposed to have the Rolling Stones play in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
A standalone concert. Yeah. And obviously 2020 happened. And but we did push that to November of 2021. Way back early in 2020, I remember doing February, I think it was, like doing a site visit with the Stones' core team and whatnot. And they walked the space, kind of took some notes, did some whatever. And no big deal. Like ticked all the boxes, and we're ready to like revisit later. I think it was May we were supposed to play, or they were supposed to play that weekend. Anyway, COVID happened. We ended up in 2021. Some things had changed. No part of ours, but I remember the staging crew at the time were like, took another look at the space and were like, this is going to be really tricky because it's a different staging system to what we use. Typically, they carry their stage. They roll with it throughout the country on the shows.
The Rolling Stones?
The Rolling Stones roll with the stage.
So they wanted to bring in their... Golly. Yeah,
lame.
They do.
Sorry. But yeah, they could travel with the stage. It's awesome. But like ahead of that, the guys came out, took a look at it and was like, well, yeah, we can do this. We can build this like retaining wall, these lumbers. We could do this to get that perfectly flat because the degree of tolerance is way less in the equipment they use than essentially Screwjack's legs on the other system that we use regularly. So it got to a point where it's like, ugh, this is going to be a lot of work to prep this, and it's got to be absolutely right. So what we did to remedy that, and it's still there this day, we literally went out and poured a concrete pad, like a perfectly level concrete pad, so they could come in and build their stage. So the byproduct of that is like Stone's show played out great, but now we have a perfectly flat concrete pad. So as far as infrastructure goes, it saves time and money, and it's great.
It's one of those like, hey, that ended up being really good for everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah, we have like there's that, and other than 2 pillars, one either side of the track, because obviously front of house need to connect to all of the equipment on stage, on deck, sound, light, and video.
Right.
Any normal gig, you've got cable ramp on the floor,
yep.
You've got a trough. We can't do that with race cars. So it's like, we couldn't set them up, we couldn't test, which means like we're dead in the water. So we wouldn't be able to sound check. We wouldn't be able to tech test during the day because we just can't. So relatively recently, I think it was for that year. Yeah, it was. We built 2 pillars, 2 masts, and essentially have cable run across, which takes all of the signal cables from front of house to stage. So that gives us the ability to operate.
And that's going above. So that's like, gotcha.
So it's like more or less 20 feet above the track surface. FIA have their minimum, I want to say it's about 16 feet or something like that. So we just go way above. So yeah, not only does that them not mean we have to support a cable, drop it, cable ramp it in that 90-minute period, it means we can fly it, leave it, they can check, they can do that in and out. Our windows just got bigger. So
I mean, what are the challenges of flying that cable? Is it just like are you someone in a cherry picker kind of just running it across, or? Pretty
much it's been refined over the years from basically point A to point B, and that's as much thought then to aircraft cable, and then to like zip ties with E-tape to like this last iteration was awesome. We had a company coming and work with us called Sure Rig who did exactly that. They like pre-made a loom, tied everything together, and then kind of picked it with these perfect kind of little, whatever you call them, loops, and yeah, it looked amazing. So
nice.
But yeah, it still freaks me out just having it up there because it's, knock on wood, like the odds of something happening in a straight line on the straight bit of the track are very, very slim. It's not impossible. We've seen cars go flying up in the air, but but there's no other option.
So, I mean, yeah. So kind of talking to the challenges in general out there, you're having to, let's say, pour concrete slab or, build this infrastructure to run your, your data and cable from stage to front of house. Again, it's like maybe it's Circuit of the Americas, which is the entity, but are you also having to get approvals from any F1 people? Like, I'm sure they have standards or codes or things.
They do. I mean, like I said, I think it's about, because like if you look on any given F1 track, you have those gantries which usually have advertising on them, which are just cantilevered across the track. So they have their requirements, like wherever, at what point you have to have at least 16 feet clearance from the track surface to the bottom of the gantry or whatever the number is. Like, so we go 4 or 5 feet above the minimum clearance just to be extra safe.
Yeah.
So
things tend to hang with weight,
Yeah. Other than that, and we've experimented with a few different processes for supporting either side. We're happy with where we are now. Big old concrete block paws with steel poles. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot. I mean, other than that, I don't think it's any different to any other track and any other of their standards of just once that track's hot, you stay away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
What were like, so kind of talking more on the logistics and sort of communication, all that kind of stuff, when you are working through all this stuff with your team, I'm curious, are y'all like, are you an email team, a Slack team? Like how is your sort of communication, when you're sort of working through these events?
A lot of it's, I'd say, done on email. I'd forgotten Slack. That was a thing, wasn't it? I didn't use that. I didn't use that either.
It still is a thing.
Teams is a thing apparently as well.
Ugh, yeah.
Sim.
I'm Team Slack.
I don't use that. I mean, that's the whole other thing about communication as well for me. It's just like if you have the ability to like literally face to face walk down to somebody's door, talk to them, whatever it is, like awesome. You should probably do that. If it's failing that, if you can pick up a phone, awesome. I think so much gets lost in people hiding behind keyboards and text message and emails. He says, that's not to say there isn't a place, because there's absolutely is that paper trail of like, okay, what did we say we do?
Right.
It was like, so and answer your question, I think a lot of it's done on email. We do have that email backup just so we can refer to it and go like, yep, nope, we said we'd do this. Yep, that's how many's coming in, this, that, and the other. And then obviously the week of the event, it's either face to face or on a radio. Exactly.
Yeah. Cause I feel like, with let's say Slack or Teams or, those, it's like, it's almost, too much chatter can be a bad thing, right? It's like if someone's just blurting instantly what comes to their mind or whatever, right? It kind of, to me, it can get distracting, I feel like, because then everybody is maybe trying to solve a problem that's really just for one person to solve or, so.
Yeah, I think it's, how many forms of communication do you really need? Like, and at what point does that detract from your actual goal? It's like, well, I'm sat behind checking my Teams, checking my Slack, checking my, like, what are you actually working on right now? Where do you have the time to do that? Because everything becomes diluted. So yeah, amazing tools, but I think everybody needs to be wary of them getting dragged in and yeah.
So then I think my last, kind of question on the challenges of it, we sort of touched on it a little bit. I mean, it's a massive weekend. You have these two global headliners. How do you keep, your team sane, your vendors and partners safe? What's that challenge like, knowing that you've got 72?
Did you say sane and safe?
Sane and safe.
Good. Okay, I wasn't looking crazy.
Is that even possible? Like, how do you kind of communicate and prep your team to be able to handle that just workload?
I think it's nothing different to whoever's doing Lollapalooza, whoever's doing Austin City Limits, Bonnaroo, pick a festival, pick that circuit. It's a mentality of just like this is how we approach this. And I've said this before, but I think in general, it's like it's amassing that knowledge, understanding it, And a large part of it, especially in festivals, or let's say you're doing, like, there's scenarios where we will do like 4 or 5 shows in a row at the amphitheater, which essentially equates to everybody gets 4 hours sleep. So yes, it's absolutely essential. You have the knowledge, ability to do all this, but you also, the really important thing in festival world for me as well, and doing this F1 weekend, is the ability to operate when essentially you're incapacitated. So it's like, because you might not notice, you're exhausted. It catches up with you. So it's like, how much of it is now muscle memory and you can just retain and do things without like shutting down? And I've seen it. People break down, and they either kind of take that opportunity, reset, and kind of it changes them for the rest of their life in that world, or they don't work in that world. So
I believe that, man. I think we all probably have that moment, of just, oh fuck, why did I get myself into this? And then, you either overcome it or you just say, you know what, I'm just going to step away. And,
I'm very much one of these people who is probably sick in the sense that, like, okay, what is your limit? Like, we've done these 5 shows in a row. It's like, cool. So what about if we do a 6th one? And it's like, where is the edge? So,
well, we were kind of talking offline a little bit. It sounds like also, I mean, just to kind of tap into some of the infrastructure, y'all, build a little mini city out there, for your teams or whomever. So is that kind of also plays into it, is like learning over time, okay, how do we, keep people here on site, maybe not have to leave the grounds, or,
100%.
So, but I'm sure that takes iterations before you really get to that, conclusion.
Yeah, I think it just grew. And like my mentality from year one, was like, I need to be out here. I need to stay here. And then we just added more and more people, joined the operation, and then just more and more campers ended up staying, and it just made more sense rather than wasting valuable time and energy commuting. However, whatever, there's 20 to 40 minutes for any given person, like multiplied by ingress, egress, however many times. It's like, yeah, you can actually just kind of wrap at whatever point, be it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or into like active when we have artists on site, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to just having those extra minutes. Like, okay, we're up for the day. I'm going to shower. I'm going to sleep, get a good night's sleep, wake up and come back and fresh. It's, I think it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
World of difference.
I believe that. So then let's kind of move to now the sort of effect of this particular concert in terms of, the effect it has on you, the effect it has on your team, or just the crowd. So again, it's like you have 100,000 people out there. The energy is, I'm sure, just contagious. You have a global online audience. I saw it was trending, on social media, like the #1 trending thing, Eminem F1, so you have global eyes looking at what's happening. You have your in-person audience, what's happening. Was there a moment during that show where it was just like, it clicked and you're like, we did it? Like, was it a particular song? Was it you looking into the crowd? Like, is there a moment that was special of saying like, yes?
I think honestly, be it this show, be it any F1 show, be it an amphitheater show, be it whatever, there's that moment of like relief. Once that first song, once the lights go down, once that first song starts, it's like
true production guy. Yeah.
Okay, we got there. And it's like, it doesn't mean you let your guard down or switch off, because like for us,
you got 90 more minutes. Yeah. Exactly.
It's the show. And then it's like the post show after that. And it's like the event isn't over till the last rigger is out of the grid. So that's like when all of the production's done and everybody's out the end, everybody's safe, and so it's like hours away. But there's a massive sense of relief, and probably more so for the crowd, where it's like, okay, the artist is on, we got you there. Now it's over to you. You enjoy this. It's like, yeah, they're in the moment. They're like looking out and seeing them all kind of get down. It's like, great. Okay, we could help deliver this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and I think that particular show as well, like closing with Lose Yourself, which has just been, I mean, it's been everywhere forever and means so many different things to so many different people, but it's just such a positive song, and seeing the crowd get into that and singing along to it.
Where were you in that moment? Do you find, are you like, I'm going to be at front of house, I'm going to be in the side stage, but like where were you in that particular moment? Do you like to get in it, or do you kind of like when it's running, you're like, my job is done?
No, I mean, any given show, you'll find me somewhere on the floor moving. So it's like, all of our team, we're looking for problems. It's like, this is great that this is all happening, but like, is anything going on that we should be aware of? Is anything we can stay ahead of? So yeah, I mean, there's like, I won't go into the intricacies, but like, it's just dealing with silly things, like a person who shouldn't be in a certain spot near front of house mix or whatever, like run into little issues like that. As I say, fortunately, there were no tech issues or anything crazy. It was really, really busy. I will say that much. Like, as far as when I look out into crowds, and certainly on the floor of that one, we were up there. We were at capacity. So it was a really busy show. So it's like that for us to look out and just know, like, and hope we've done our job well in the planning, our calculations, and everyone's safe and everyone's having a good time. But yeah, I bounce around all over the place. I'm like front of house, back of house. I'll see if she will go out in the field, like way at the back occasionally. See, yeah, it's everywhere. I will absolutely take like a few moments to like stand out on the floor and just absorb, and you have to. I mean, it's like, and even if it's only a few, and that's really, I think with the exception of maybe like an amp show where I actually checked out a few songs of Queens of the Stone Age because they're great. For the most part, it's
Busted,
just it's popping out and just like, okay, because it's just you're switched on and you're not done until those gates close.
Well, and that's something I kind of really, that's the idea of this particular show and us and this discussion, is to kind of give a little bit of insight to people of, I think there's a maybe a slight perception of the industry, whether you're a promoter or, producer, it's you're one big, giant party or whatever. And it's just like, it's really not. It seems like it's, you're really constantly bouncing around. Like, yes, you have all access, but like, you're not, you're not necessarily taking advantage of that, right? You're not like, lounging and hanging. It's, you're constantly moving. And, I think that's just a big part of, what people don't know that happens, behind the scrim. It's just a constant motion. And it's really awesome to hear you say that moment of relief. The first song happens, everything is okay. But then also you mentioned until the last rigger's down. And that's another thing that, again, I think is people don't, just maybe don't see or understand, just that start to finish. And with production, you're the first one in and the last one out. Mm-hmm. And it's a journey.
It's a long day.
It's a long day. Which then kind of takes us into the ethos of all this, right? So, we've talked about a lot, all, from the concept of it, the creation of it, the challenges of it, the effect of it. If you were to kind of give your advice to somebody who's interested in getting into this world, what do you think is kind of the one thing that has stayed consistent starting in 2010, to where you are now? Like, is there a consistent, is it a mindset? Like you kind of said it earlier, there's a festival mindset, right? It's like you either have it or you don't, but like, is there anything, work ethic, whatever, that you think has been consistent in your journey?
I don't know. I mean, the best people I've personally worked with and and it's when it's always been a pleasure to work alongside with them is the ones who are still really on it. They're not complacent. They're fully focused on their job. They still have that passion. It's not just picking up a paycheck for them. It's caring about what they're doing. It's like, you listen to some of those folks when they're touring with some of these bands and artists. They legit care. It's like, it's not just a production. It's like they'll be talking about their principles, and they know what will bug them, or they would know what will throw them off the game on a night, and they still kind of think about that. It's not just going through the motions anymore. So I don't know, that maintaining that passion and drive. But I think that's what it's all about anyway. Like, you should probably give up if you don't have that.
Is that passion and drive kind of stems from, and this was sort of very beginning of the conversation, it sounds like, you have a very much a hospitality approach in terms of taking care of the artist, taking care of the event, the production. So is that kind of the fuel for that passion and drive of sort of creating that best experience for everybody involved?
I think so, for the most part. And I mean, for me, it's that trying to achieve perfection for every single thing you're involved with. And that's never going to happen. But the second you accept that that's never going to happen, then that's when things start to slide. So you've got to just reach and try and make everything you do count. And just you're impacting everyone with those decisions. So like, fortunately, we have a good reputation for what we do out at COTA and the F1 like Super Stage. But it's not just luck. It's we care, and we've put in the work. We spend the extra money where it's needed. We go above and beyond. So yeah, I think I don't know. Like, life just kind of gets complicated, and it's not. It's really, really hasn't changed that much from when we were kids. It's like, your interaction, be one person, be with a group of people, whatever. It's like everybody just wants to be treated equally the same, and just don't be a dick. It's like, that's it. If you don't do that, everything usually works out okay.
Amen to that. And I think that's also kind of, I think the perception also that, I'm aiming to help shake for people too is, I know there's been a perception of, years and years of, maybe a sound guy being that sulky guy in the corner smoking a cigarette, grumpy, but I think that is just not the case anymore. And it's, the production people are some of the kindest, most respectful, at least the successful ones in terms of
definitely changing of like for good. It's like, I still remember back in the day, and there might be some of the sweetest people, like some of these same folks, but there was a lot of, like, way back used to be like, you go in, you wouldn't know someone, you're working with a new team production, and it's very much, defensive cross-arm pose and straight face. It's like, dude, what?
Yeah, we're just trying to put on a concert here,
we're
man.
Gonna have a good day. But I think some of that, again, is down to whoever if somebody that is the persona and you behave in that manner, it's just gonna,
the feedback loop of
it's going to happen. Whereas, like, you have the opportunity to go in and go, like, you set the precedent. It's like, hey, this is who I am. It's like, well, I'm a professional. We don't need to be glum about it. It's like, let's do it with a positive attitude.
Amen. Amen to that. And I think that really does. I mean, that seems like that's a big part of the success is as long as you remain positive, you're going to solve problems, you're going to execute, yeah. But I guess that's harder said than done sometimes,
It is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good days and bad days, but
yeah.
I think my kind of last question on sort of, the ethos and, how you've developed to where you are, where do you kind of find your inspiration to, like you said, challenge yourself to do something new or get to the next level? Like, do you get that from going to attending festivals or concerts yourself? Are you, on YouTube researching, kind of what people are doing or what artists are doing? Where do you kind of find your inspiration to sort of both creatively but logistically, bring your sauce to the table?
I think you got to stay relevant. So it's like being aware of what's going on around you, other festivals, other venues, because you can get stuck in that rut for sure. I mean, we have a department trip scheduled for a venue in Dallas in April, for instance. Literally, the pure reason to do that is just take a look at something else from a different perspective. Just to, what are your practices? Like, we're doing probably the same, most, not all, whatever. But how do you approach this? Why do you approach this? It's like, what's your opinion? What's your view? So, yeah, not just being stubborn and going, this is how we're doing it. This is the way. And it's like, I mean, it's a conversation. So, that's why we're going to that venue, just to like, I'm sure they'll be like, we could do that. Yeah, why haven't we thought of that? It's because, you start to kind of narrow in and become a little bit snowblind. And it happens. It's like, so on a very basic level, kind of from what you were asking there, it's like for myself, if I'm walking like the venue, it's so easy to walk from a back of house to stage to front gates. You've done it a million times. You've seen exactly the same environment. It's like our job is to, as I say, look for things that might go wrong, things that aren't right, what needs repairing, what needs fixing. But you inevitably, what happens, you fall into this rhythm of just going through a process at that point. You're not really taking in anything. So for me, the trick, and I always try and push myself, is just to look at everything from different angles. That's how you see those. They're not necessarily new things. It's just you're looking at things from a different way, and it's like, why didn't we try that? Why didn't we do that? It's like, I think that's a big part of staying relevant, staying fresh, staying on top of things. Just trying to approach things from different angles.
I mean, that's awesome to hear. And I hope people are really listening to that. And I think that speaks volumes to the success y'all have had at COTA, and it shows, that approach. I mean, yeah, y'all have really, put something on the map out there, as an independent thing, but also for Austin. And like you said, it's like, you can't, talk is talk, but the action is really where it's at. And I think that's where y'all have proven time and time again on the execution. So it's nice to hear, especially in the position you're in, the influence you have out there, kind of how you help keep things relevant out there and keep things, advancing. So that's awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we try.
Yeah. Well, speaking of trying, so, kind of to wrap it up, I mean, y'all have got a ton going on out there. You've got COTA Land, you've got the Padlock expansion. I just saw that there's now the hotel and convention center, I think that's, kind of getting built out there. So, is that sort of, where your head's at on the horizon, is how to integrate now all these new bits and pieces into everything that happens?
Not so much. I mean, I do work on a lot of other things outside of music and entertainment, but I'm there when needed. So I'm sure there are projects and certain elements of some of those areas that I'll inevitably work on, But no, we've got very, very capable teams in many, many different departments working in those areas right now. So it's like, what are your core duties? What is your core focus? And then you've got that little overlap. It's like, hey, what, about this? Come here. So yeah, there's a little bit of that going. But no, it's everything, knock on wood, seems to be in motion and on track. Just a lot going on right now. A lot going on. We've got that building, Turn 1 building as well. It's, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting, man. Thank you so much for coming today, taking some time out of your day.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's been awesome to hear about, the Eminem concert, but also just generally how things operated out there. And again, congrats to all your success out there. Well, cheers, man. Well, Glynn, thank you so much for taking time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.